Well, it's the dance of democracy and it continues to surprise us every time. The big pictures coming in from Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir, it's been nothing short of a thriller in both these one state and one union tree this morning. I'm Ritangshu Bhattacharya, and over the next 1 hour, let me take you through our viewers through what is happening right now. First of all, let's look at the picture in Haryana. It was nothing short of a T20 thriller. 49 seats for the BJP as of now. 49 leads, 35 for the Congress, a very disappointing show, but perhaps even more disappointing for the JJP, which is stuck on 0, and it's a similar case with the Aam Aadmi Party, also a big fat 0, and others, including the INLD, are on 6 seats, but the big winner in Haryana clearly being, as these tractors on our animation show, the BJP. But from tractors, let's shift to shikaras in Jammu and Kashmir, where again it's been a very surprising picture compared to exit polls. The big winner, the National Conference and its ally, the Congress, 46 out of 90 seats, which means it has a simple majority on its own. The BJP not doing too badly with 28 seats. There was a time in the morning where it looked it would do a lot better. The big loser in Jammu and Kashmir, ladies and gentlemen, is the PDP. The party which formed the government the last time there were elections is now down to just 5 MLAs according to leads, and of course others. This includes a motley crowd of independents, former rebels, former separatists. They are at 11, but as of now it's unlikely that they will be requiring to form a government here. So let's now try and understand and try and make sense of the leads here. They have stabilized for the last 1 hour at least. Let me go across to my guest, Adil Singh Bopara of the Congress, Tom Wadekar, national spokesperson of the BJP. I also have Ajay Gulia of the JJP, Dhirendra Avasthi, senior journalist as well, is with me, and also hoping to be joined by Madhav and Narayan from Noida as well. Let me go across to Adil, who's joining us at this point. Adil, the numbers have stabilized for the past 1 hour, and I think we can say with a reasonable degree of certainty that the Congress has not performed as per its expectations in Haryana. What, according to you, has gone wrong for the party in that state?
Well, I beg to differ with you. I think it's like a pendulum. It's been swinging from one end to the other. These are still trends. If you go by the ECI data, the margins are just about 100 to 500 in several constituencies. And interestingly, the Congress's vote share is about 40%, whereas the BJP is about 38%. So I think we must wait. I think the picture will become clearer by around 12 noon or maybe closer to 1 p.m. We are very, very confident of forming the government in Haryana.
No, but Mr. Bopara, I understand that is the stock response at this point. But yes, there was a pendulum, no doubt about it. In the morning, it looked as if the Congress at one point was on course for 60 seats in Haryana. But it's been the same here, and it's the same whether it be on our own portals in which we are going and getting our own independent information from polling sites and from the Election Commission website also, where at this point the BJP is leading in 49 and the Congress is only in 35. That's a net difference of 14. So it's quite unlikely for the numbers to change that badly, and even if it does, it seems very unlikely that we are going to reach what the exit polls had predicted, which was about at least 50 to 55 seats for the Congress here. So let's be honest at this point, it is definitely not a performance which
let's hold our horses.
Bursting of crackers at 8 a.m. at the AICC headquarters. Okay, so you're very certain that
let's hold our horses.
That the Congress party
start giving judgments at 11 a.m. We are certain we will form the government.
Okay, but
we are
so you're certain you'll form the government. All right, let's okay.
Let's wait. Let's wait till 1 p.m.
Dhirendra Avasthi, senior journalist, who's joined. Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll come to you. Dhirendra Avasthi, senior journalist, joining us as well. Avasthi ji, do you agree? आपको क्या लगता है कि अभी भी पिक्चर बाकी है? Because 1 घंटे से तो लग रहा है कि पिक्चर अभी सेट हो चुका है, कि इस समय कुछ नहीं है, तो एटलीस्ट एक बड़ा सरप्राइज आया है बीजेपी की तरफ से हरियाणा में, और अभी भी वो बहुमत के काफी ऊपर है, एटलीस्ट 45 के ऊपर 49 सीट्स तक पहुंच गए.
नहीं, मुझे लग रहा है कि 5000 तक जहां लीड है अभी भी वहां चेंज हो सकता है, इसलिए कि 3-4 राउंड तक हुए हैं अभी तक, मैक्सिमम 15-16 राउंड तक होने हैं, तो ये 10-12 राउंड तक मैं मानूंगा कि सेटल हो जाएगा ये, लेकिन अभी पिक्चर चेंज हो सकती है.
ठीक है, बिल्कुल पिक्चर चेंज हो सकती है, बट अभी जो चेंज हुई है वो उस पर मैं टिप्पणी जानना चाहूंगा. एक घंटे पहले तक, 1-1.5 घंटे पहले तक कांग्रेस की परफॉर्मेंस जो थी वो एग्जिट पोल की बराबर के अनुसार चल रहा था, जिसमें हम देख रहे थे कि एटलीस्ट 55 से ज्यादा, 50 से ज्यादा सीट्स तो होंगे। वो अभी वो अभी ड्रास्टिकली घटकर 35 तक आ गई है। मैं मानता हूं बिल्कुल पिक्चर चेंज हो सकती, पिक्चर चेंज होगी पिछले 1 घंटे से, लेकिन हुई नहीं है। जो मैं देख रहा हूं कि जो नैरो लीड्स थे, हम एक लीड को ज्वाइन कर रहे, वो नैरो लीड्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं। अभी जैसे विनेश फोगाट जी ट्रेल कर रहे थे कुछ 100 वोट से, अब उनके ट्रेलिंग मार्जिन अब कुछ 1000 वोट से है। तो इससे क्या ये स्पष्ट होता है कि अभी एटलीस्ट एग्जिट पोल्स की नाम से और जिस तरीके से प्रेडिक्शंस थे कि कांग्रेस की विक्ट्री मार्जिन होगी, शायद वहां तक नहीं पहुंच जाएगी। मामला काफी टाइट निकला है।
नहीं, ये ठीक है। अभी जैसे विनेश फोगाट का एग्जांपल दिया आपने, अभी जो बीजेपी के बैरागी हैं, कैप्टन बैरागी, वो करीब 1400 वोटों से लीड कर रहे हैं 5 राउंड के बाद। तो वहां एक थर्ड फैक्टर है, सुरेंद्र लाठर जो इनेलो बीएसपी अलायंस से हैं। तो वहां ये बिल्कुल क्लियर था ग्राउंड पे जुलाना में कि अगर वो ज्यादा वोट ले जाते हैं सुरेंद्र लाठर, तो विनेश फोगाट हार सकती हैं। तो ये इस तरीके के फैक्टर करीब 20 से 22 सीटों में है हरियाणा में। तो अब जैसे लीड कम होके जुलाना में 1417 हो गई है 5 राउंड के बाद। तो ये इलेक्शन बेहद क्लोज रहने वाला है। ऐसी काफी सीटें हैं जहां क्लोज चल रहा है काफी। तो मैं ये मानता हूं कम से कम 20 सीटें हैं जहां क्लोज चल रहा है। तो मैं ये मानता हूं कि 10-12 राउंड तक हमें वेट करना चाहिए।
Bilkul, that's a big picture coming out at this point, that so far nothing can be said for granted. The numbers, as you can see, viewers, on our screens at this point, if you look at, is the fact that the BJP is ahead, but the numbers may change. Tom Vadakan, national spokesperson of BJP, joining me at this point. Mr. Vadakan, thank you for joining us on Mirror now. Mr. Boparai from the Congress still believes that it's early trends. It has been a pendulum in Haryana ever since in the mass morning, and the picture will change at 1 o'clock. And he's still confident that the Congress will form a government by its own in Haryana. Mr. Bhupender Singh Hooda also echoed the same words, although some would say his body language didn't look the most optimistic. But what our reporters are telling us, Mr. Vadakan, is even the BJP office seems to be deserted. They're not in the mood to celebrate yet. Are you also anticipating a further twist in the tail in Haryana? And are you anticipating that these numbers may come down for the BJP, Mr. Vadakan?
Look, our understanding of the situation is based on the reports coming in from our Karyakarta. And we are confident that we will form government in Haryana. Hooda's body language says it all. I mean, you know, it's not coming from his heart. I've known the man for years. And his body language does not reflect a chief ministerial candidate. And then you have seen what they expected. The Pehlwans and the Kisans and all of them would combine, but the Kisans know the ground reality. I mean, that was earlier an attempt was made, and then the Pehlwans. That was basically part of the regime change exercise that was happening, and that was engineered by the Haryana government. You could see Dipender Hooda sitting on the jeep, which welcomed the wrestler. I mean, all that wrestling operations and what have you is supported by the political agenda of the Congress. And these things don't work. People of Haryana are wise enough to select. I mean, 10 years and counting. We are still there. We are still delivered. And that's the kind of delivery we are talking about. The word of anti-incumbency does not exist in the dictionary of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I am not being, this has been seen in other states where we have had situations where we have come back again because we deliver and our promises to the people are kept. That is the report card that we have delivered to the people of Haryana. Each of the development agenda, what we have done for women, what we have done for the farmers, 23 crops have been receiving MSP. Nowhere in any state have they been seeing that. Skill development and employment opportunities. People are seeing things happening there. You had Karcha Parchi business where you pay and then get some positions. That is no more. Employment is based on merit, and dynastic politics doesn't work. These are the realities. The people of Haryana are wise people, you know, and they have now reflected what is the ground reality. Exit poll and all that was there, but we didn't believe one word because our Karyakarta's report was solid, and we did believe that things are going to happen on the day of the counting.
But Mr. Vadakan, as I speak right now, I have the EC website open to me, and while the seat share on the EC website shows the same figure we have on a screen, 48 to 36, the fact still remains that in terms of vote share, the Congress party is the single largest. It has a current vote share of 40.24. The BJP has 39%. So in terms of popular votes, more votes have gone for the Congress. And if at all these numbers hold something similar, the only thing which would have gotten the BJP past the post is the first past the post system. So it's evident that there is some levels of anti-incumbency which the BJP did have to face on the ground, and the Congress, perhaps in terms of brute vote share, as the single largest party.
You see, the ground reality is they have been working on narratives, whether it was the Palwan issue, whether it was the agitations that were following, and this kind of narratives don't hold water. They may hold temporary, you know, emotional bonding, but that doesn't hold, because ultimately people are asking about ground reality, jobs, women's security, development of the state, and a state which is not corrupt. Here you have a situation, if it goes the Congress way, you have an example of it. Himachal Pradesh, you have Karnataka, you have Telangana, they're all running in debt. And why? Because they have delivered freebies and no money to cover it. And development has gone for a 6. If that is the situation, people of Haryana realize that if this continues in Haryana, they are doomed. Because there is going to be the real estate mafia coming in, converting fertile land into, they will convert it into a different range for business values. And that would happen. And you know who is going to gain by that. I'm not taking names. But the reality is the real estate mafia would be right there in Haryana. And do you want a repeat of that situation where fertile land will be taken over by people by changing the land use?
Okay.
And if they do that and that continues, production from Haryana will suffer. Farmers will suffer. They may get remuneration, they may buy 2-3 SUVs and all that. But the reality is production will fail.
Okay. Let me go across to Adil at this point. Adil, would you like to comment on those points which have been raised by Mr. Vadakan? And see, he's of course someone who's been in the Congress party for a very long time. So one would say that he understands how the party functions. Essentially, the charge coming from the BJP is that the Congress party ran a campaign which was high on rhetoric, high on emotional issues, high on promises, which the track records of your party in Karnataka, Telangana, Himachal have shown that you're not capable of keeping, which is why the people of Haryana this time were not very convinced by the promises which were made by your leaders in the campaign.
You know, with due respect to the gentleman, he's removed from reality. What do you have to say about Brij Bhushan Singh, the former president of the Wrestling Federation of India? Is he the mascot for women's safety? You have national jewels alleging that he indulged in sexual harassment. What do you have to say about it? Are you doubting your national jewels? Number one. Number two, it's a matter of record that the Haryana police opened fire on farmers. One glaring example is Shubkaran Singh. He was shot dead by the Haryana police. Is that also a matter of narrative? So come on, let's get a grip on reality. I understand the gentleman has to say something for the sake of saying something. Number three, unemployment. According to the Government of India's own statistics, unemployment is the highest in Haryana in the country. Number four, law and order is deteriorated. You have gang wars happening in Haryana. Number five, it is the BJP which changed its chief minister months before the elections. What did that demonstrate? So therefore, like I said earlier, ultimately the voter and the hustings will decide who will lead Haryana. We are confident, and I was just going through the EC website.
Okay.
There are at least 12 constituencies where the vote margin is anything between 200 to 800. So let's hold our horses. Let's not prejudge the situation. The BJP did try to bring in multiple regional players to divide the vote bank. all that mischievous tactics were adopted to them. But having said this, let's wait till 1 p.m. We are still very confident that the Congress will form the government in Haryana.
Okay, Mr. Vadakan wants to respond, but before that, Mr. Vadakan, I'd want you to also respond to the ground reality coming in from the BJP office at this point. My colleague Kritika is joining us live from the BJP office. One would expect there would be some sort of celebrations in the BJP office. Kritika, if you're with me at this point, what is the mahal right now at the BJP office, as the word us journalists love to use at this point? We saw celebrations in the Congress office as early as 8 a.m. Is it something similar at the BJP office this time, Kritika?
Well, no, Ritangshu, BJP in fact has been very careful since morning. Even now, no signs of celebrations at the headquarters. We're reporting from the BJP headquarters right now. And the mahal here is frankly quite empty. They still, last we heard was, unless and until the trends get clearer, unless and until the numbers become more clear, at least till they reach the 10th round of counting, no workers would be assembling here. I think this is something that was also, that we saw during the Lok Sabha elections as well, how no early celebrations from the BJP headquarters were witnessed. And now also, as per the visuals that you're seeing, not a lot of workers have assembled here. And but this is a wild swing in trends that we're seeing, because earlier in the morning we were mentioning how by 10:30, 11 the situation would be clearer. But by that time the game has completely flipped, and right now BJP is leading up to close to 48 seats while Congress is trailing. So in Congress headquarters also, as we had heard earlier, the dhols have been set aside, sweet distribution has come to a pause. But here in BJP also, we are yet to see how the celebrations take place, or in fact by when, by which round do leaders start coming out and confirming that these are the trends that are being witnessed. Because remember, earlier also, not a lot of BJP leaders had spoken about a victory. They did say that they're giving a tough fight to Congress, and except for the caretaker CM, Mr. Nayab Singh Saini, he was the one who was saying that he is very confident of the mandate of the people. And remember, even in Gurgaon, in many urban areas also, all those assembly constituencies, right now we are seeing that BJP in fact is leading in all those spaces.
That's true, Kritika. And in fact, if there's one takeaway we can have from that report by Kritika, and I'd like to also get in my guest in the studio, Madhavan Narayan, senior journalist as well. If there's one takeaway, sir, that we can get from the picture so far, it's still very early, but it's that election results continue to outfox everyone, whether it be psephologists, whether it be us in the studios, my friends like Kritika in the field, even our politicians here. They continue to throw the unexpected here. Yes, it is still too early, but given the fact that the trends have stabilized for the past 1.5 hours, I don't think it's very feasible for it to come anywhere close to the picture that was being suggested by the exit polls in Haryana, and for that matter in Jammu and Kashmir also, which is projecting a much closer fight than it has turned out to be in the Union Territory. It's evident right now that once again the mood of the voters is something which has been misjudged by a lot of people on the ground.
Well, Tangshu, I have a lot to say on this, but let's first say one or two big picture observations I want to make. First of all is that whichever party loses this election in Haryana eventually will have what we would call an honorable defeat. You know, I can't say much about the victory, but I can say more about the defeat now, because the margins are so narrow that there are deep lessons for both parties. But I have a lot to say on, because I understand Haryana politics, I dare say, with some more detail. And although I'd expected Congress to win clearly, I can infer sufficiently from these trends now, whatever be the ultimate seat-based first-past-the-post outcome, that there are complex dynamics at work where this whole thing of what we call the mood of the voter, the concept has to be questioned. Because I heard you use the word mahal, which is a lovely Urdu word mixing ambience with what we call mood, you know. And ambience is too politics, atmosphere, positive atmosphere is too dry. So, it basically shows that there is a big mood shift in a manner where you have to look into the details. And details matter so much that you can call it a failure of psephology as a science, which is a very difficult thing because like macroeconomics, psephology is not an easy subject.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, I would say, well, the inference is that the Indian voter is growing up so much that simplistic calculations based on caste or simple vote share even is increasingly less and less relevant. That's a big takeaway from me, which is that if you have a 41% vote share, that's what the Congress seems to have almost, and BJP has 39%, whereas the seat share trend, at least so far, shows BJP well ahead from based on leads. It means that every constituency, every independent, every vote, and every party matters. In fact, I saw your headlines, Tangshu, saying Aam Aadmi Party makes no impact and JJP is not there. But actually, to me, it seems that these minor parties are having what is... Yeah, so typically, I would say that the what we would call the first past the post system is throwing up interesting inferences. For instance, India alliance has to now become a reality in Haryana. Because Congress going it alone has not convincingly won in spite of tremendous leadership from Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Okay, that is one big takeaway. I have a lot more to say on this, but so most important is that the differences seem to matter every constituency.
Exactly. I would like to just ask, yes, that's the graphic which I would 2024 so far to 2019. Both the BJP and the Congress have made gains in terms of seat share. The BJP has gone up from 40 to 48, Congress from 31 to 36. And as Adil Bopara mentioned, the Congress right now has the higher vote share. But Adil, the point which my senior guest in the studio was making, if indeed the Congress does not manage to secure a majority by itself, despite the fact that it has the maximum number of votes, will it come down to the fact that perhaps the anti-BJP votes were split also within not just by the Congress, but also parties like the JJP, like the Aam Aadmi Party, maybe even the INLD, which seems to have done well compared to the other small parties? Would it then be a lesson for the Congress party that it is still not perhaps in a position at which it can take on the BJP one-on-one without having support from the smaller parties?
Well, I respectfully disagree with you. I'll just give you an example of JJP, Dushyant Chautala, who is the Deputy Chief Minister. He's coming 6th in his constituency. So what does that demonstrate? Aam Aadmi Party, with due respect to them, is not a serious player in Haryana. Let's face it, they're not a serious player. The BJP strategy right from the beginning has been that you bring in multiple parties so that you divide the political canvas. This has been their strategy. We've noticed they've set up independents, they've set up other regional parties, JJP, etc., all their B teams, so that the Congress vote bank gets divided. Having said this, let me again reiterate, there were multiple economic and other issues which were at play in Haryana. There was the farmers' issue, there was the wrestlers' issue, there was deteriorating law and order, there was certainly anti-incumbency, and there was the issue of unemployment. I again reiterate, we are confident that we will return to power. There are several it's just about 4 to 6 rounds by now. In an assembly constituency, there are approximately 17 to 19 rounds. As per the EC data, we are just about 6 to 8 rounds down. And the margins in several seats, for example, in Kalka, the BJP candidate is leading from a margin of just about 496 votes. So therefore, you know, this is like a pendulum right now. The pendulum is likely to swing the other side. We are still confident, but taking cue from what the gentleman previously said was, we ran a very spirited campaign. And we ran a campaign which is based on what is best for Haryana, what is best for the governance model of Haryana. And the BJP has tried their dirty tricks department. We are hopeful that the voters of Haryana will defeat them at the hustings.
All right, we have been speaking of Haryana for a while. Let's quickly shift our focus to Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, Haryana remains the talking point, and I'll come back to you, sir, as well. The reason I need to pivot to Jammu and Kashmir, and Mr. Vadakan, I'll come to you right now, but I just wanted to put out a tweet which is coming from Iltija Mufti, who is, of course, the daughter of former Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti. She was contesting from Brij Behara, and she was initially leading in the early leads, but she has now been trailing for a while, and she has conceded defeat, saying that she's accepted the verdict of the people. and the love and affection I've received from everyone will always remain with me. Gratitude to the PDP workers. Now, PDP, of course, is the big loser in Jammu and Kashmir with 5 seats at this point, 5 leads at this point. But Mr. Vadakan, I know you wanted to come in on the points raised by my guest in Haryana also, but I also wanted to bring you in Jammu and Kashmir. A lot of the people in the opposition felt that this verdict would be essentially a referendum on how the people of Jammu and Kashmir feel on the abrogation of Article 370. Looking at this picture of lead so far, would you say it's a reflection of how the people feel in terms of how the centre has administered Jammu and Kashmir over the last 5 years?
Not at all. This is certainly not a referendum. When you have 80% to 90% vote percentages in different constituencies of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, it's a victory of democracy. It is a condition we have created for the prosperity of democracy, for the growth of democracy. Whereas the leader of the Congress went around saying democracy has been destroyed, there was complaints about the EVM. Now EVM has been buried alive. And now they say, well, you know, we won because we have a lot of things to deliver. But what are they delivering? Today, earlier also, we saw visuals of Rahul Gandhi enjoying an ice cream in Lal Chowk. Would that be possible when his regime was out there? Today, there is security around there. And there is question of development that's coming up. People have come out and voted. This is not a victory of A party, B party. This is a situation created by Narendra Modi ji to develop that state. It is not important who is in the saddle there. What is important is the security that we have delivered. It is the development of that state which the people have realized. And this is a celebration of the Election Commission and democracy. Let Rahul Gandhi get a lesson that democracy is live and kicking.
But in terms of the verdict which it seems to have shown up at this point, is the BJP conceding defeat the way perhaps the PDP is also going to? Mr. Vadakan, is the party prepared to sit in the opposition?
We are ready to accept anything that comes out of the mandate of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Everything that happens, happens for the good. We look at it positively, whether we are in power or we are out of power. We have created that situation for peacefuls. We have created that situation where there's less of communalism. We have restored the pundits back. We have done whatever could be and whatever needs to be done, whichever government comes in, whether it is our government or the MC, we will cooperate with them both at the central and at the state level. But we are not conceding anything at this juncture. Things will change.
All right, so things will change. So still picture abhi baki, that's the verdict coming in. Madhav and Narayan, how do you read the trends in Jammu and Kashmir so far? There was a brief time during the morning where it felt like the BJP would be the closest, would make it quite a tight fight with the National Conference Cong alliance, perhaps even surpass it as the single largest party. But now numbers are stabilized to a point that what the alliance is getting in Jammu and Kashmir is larger than even perhaps some of the more optimistic exit poll surveys. Would you be prepared to say at this point, Madhavan, that at least in Jammu and Kashmir, the picture looks clearer? And if so, what would be your takeaways from it before I get Adil on this point?
Well, Ritangshu, I had absolutely no doubts whatsoever in my mind that the BJP was not going to be forming the government. You know, it's strong in the Jammu region, but it is not a Jammu and Kashmir party. So, to that extent, I had no doubts about that. But let us give the credit where it's due to the union government under Mr. Modi. It's a victory for democracy. I agree with Tom Vadakan. It's because there was a time when Pakistan used to talk about plebiscite and all this. Elections, the turnout and the positivity has shown that Kashmir wants to be essentially a part of India, not just by military action or presumption, but by popular mandate. Having said that, let me disagree with Mr. Vadakan and say that it's a vote for democracy. It's also a vote for autonomy. So the National Conference's campaign, along with Congress, essentially meant something that looks like Article 370 is needed. You can call it Article 371, like some of the northeastern states have special provisions, or you could simply have a federal approach like the Tamil Nadu. It doesn't have any.
Nothing else, at least full statehood.
So it's full statehood. It's on the way. Personally, I feel Jammu and Kashmir needs to be two provinces, not one. It's a colonial and a feudal legacy that we are calling it one state. But that's a separate issue. What's more important is that it's a vote for democracy, it's a vote for autonomy, and it also shows very clear patterns. One important point I want to mention is the PDP's big defeat has been engineered partly by the BJP, because it's widely believed that engineer Rashid, so I'm punning on engineer here, has been, the votes that would have gone to PDP has gone to maybe Rashid's party, and the traditional, what I would call a soft subnationalism or regionalism championed by National Conference is something that's finding an echo across Valley. They all want to be Indian, from cricket to Bollywood. Everything in Kashmir is aligned with a lot of things Indian, but they do have an identity. So it's a victory for Mr. Vajpayee's old, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's old Troika slogan, Insaniyat, Kashmiriyat and Hindustaniyat. That is coming out very clearly in the Kashmir elections. So to that extent, BJP can claim some sort of a moral victory, but let's face it, nobody loves BJP in the Valley.
No, so given that point, the fact that the BJP was always, even BJP themselves would admit that they were never expecting to actually do well in the Kashmir region, and the fact that they were effectively limited to Jammu region, would you still call it? Okay, Mr. Vadakan wanted to comment on that. Please go ahead, Mr. Vadakan.
I agree with a lot of things that Mr. Narayanan has said, but there is one difference of opinion I have. There's an elephant in the room which I think the Congress and NC needs to settle. The manifesto of the NC says they want 370 abrogated. And what is this? The deafening silence of the Congress party is something which I've not been able to comprehend. So let them settle that also before, taking the hot seat in Srinagar.
Okay. Okay, well, let me get...
I have seen Mr. Vadakan as a Congress party spokesperson in our respective previous lives, and you know what's going on, Tom, and I know what's going on. Congress loves to be vague on some issues.
Well, let's give the Congress spokesperson a chance to clear the air. Adil Singh, would you like to come in at this point? Now, yes, firstly, congratulations, I think, in terms of for all the questions you have been fielding on Haryana when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir, the things are looking quite unequivocally optimistic for the Congress party and its ally. But going forward, will it be tricky for the Congress party to manage its own responsibilities as a national party versus the obvious aspirations of the National Conference, which has a definitely pro-Kashmir stand?
No, not at all. The Congress party is committed to the Indian Constitution, and the BJP wants to see mischief where none exists. But having said this, I accept Mr. Vadakan's compliments. I think he's conceded that the BJP has lost in Jammu and Kashmir. Most certainly, the trends indicate that the Congress and the NC is forming the government. But coming on the reasons, I think this is a resounding answer to the BJP's muscular politics in Jammu and Kashmir. It is a resounding answer to downgrading a full-fledged state, bifurcating it and reducing into a union territory. I think these are issues, these are aspects which the voters of Jammu and Kashmir have not liked. They've resoundingly answered against this. Now we sincerely hope and expect that the BJP does not try to engineer mischief through the Lieutenant Governor and allows the mandate to flourish and thrive in Jammu and Kashmir, and doesn't try to run the state through a back door like they use the governor houses in several other states.
Well, that is, Mr. Madhav Narayan, that has been a talking point going forward, that Jammu and Kashmir, while it has an election, has now been reduced to the state of what we are seeing in Delhi, perhaps what we've seen in Puducherry, where effectively there is a constant power struggle that is going on between the central appointed Lieutenant Governor and the elected government at this point. Is that going to be a challenge going forward here? Because yes, while there's a lot of hover over the 5 nominated MLAs which the governor is going to put in place, I don't think, going by these numbers, that they're going to make much of a difference to the health and survival of the government here. But it does also indicate that it is going to be a very fractured polity going forward in Jammu and Kashmir? And is that really in the interests of the Union Territory?
Let's look at it two ways. First of all, yes, the governor's office has been substantially abused by the BJP. Let me be very blunt on that. Because the governors, whether it's in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Bengal, Karnataka, yeah. So the governor is sort of behaving like a vice-regal sort of a figure in an empire rather than a figurehead who's supposed to stand back and report only when there is a constitutional machinery breakdown, keep one's mouth shut in a largely ceremonial office and enjoy the goodies of a princely sort of a hospitality. That has been subverted by the BJP politically. But Kashmir has been an exception. Kashmir, the governor, Manoj, has been relatively speaking much more positive, and partly because there was no local government
no opposition
to
at this point. Now
so also they've been using lots of resources, both political and economic resources, to woo Kashmir. This is something that Amit Shah, well, it's a strategy where everywhere else the BJP is combative, whereas in Kashmir, BJP has been on a charm offensive, if I may say so. So that is sort of been good for India as a country. But there are always some, you cannot be simply, this is not chocolates and roses, this is different. This is something which involves long-standing aspirations, cultural identities, and other things. So that's where BJP fails. Yeah.
Okay, so there's so much I want to talk to you about Jammu and Kashmir at this point, but I just also want to reflect it. It's going to be a seesaw battle, not just for Vinesh Fogart, as you can see on his screens, but also a seesaw topic of conversation also for us in the studio as well, because we're constantly switching our focus between Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. And to validate the point which Adil has been making from the beginning, and as well as a lot of the guests, it's too close and too early to call in Haryana, because for the last 1 hour, Vinesh Fogart was trailing in her constituency. She is now ahead, but she's ahead with just 30 votes. So that's in round 7. So a lot is still yet to be determined. However, it's been almost 2 hours since the trends that you see have more or less been static in Haryana. So unless there is a massive turn and suddenly 16 to 18 seats suddenly change from the BJP to Congress, it looks like this might be the picture going forward. Adil Boparai, the point I wanted to was making to in terms of the Congress still being reliant on other smaller parties. Even if you look at the picture in Jammu and Kashmir, where it is quite optimistic for your alliance, if I'm not mistaken, the National Conference contested 56 seats and it is ahead in 41. The Congress party contested 38 seats and it is ahead in only 10. So the Congress's strike rate is a lot lower than that of the National Conference. That is a concern which a lot of your allies have mentioned before. And perhaps that indicates the Congress party still will have to be either very comfortably the second player or the junior player ally in a lot of alliances in the state, or if nothing else, also be cognizant of the impact which potentially smaller parties can play, and therefore will have to continue on strengthening the India bloc. Would you be agreeing with me on that takeaway, Adil?
Let's take your theory as far as Haryana is concerned. Which are the smaller regional parties which are in fray? You have the INLD and the JJP. The JJP is a breakaway faction of the INLD. It was essentially the Chautala party family, where one brother and the 2 nephews broke away and formed the JJP. So therefore they come and constitute one bloc. Number 2, the BJP was never really a party before 2014 in Haryana. They were a 4th player. Yes, post 2014 you saw an inorganic growth of the BJP, and the BJP came to power for 10 years. Number 3, you have the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party, with due respect, let me reiterate, is not a really serious player. We did give them 1 seat in the parliamentary elections, but they are not really a serious player. Now, as far as the Congress is concerned, we're a very, very formidable force in Haryana. Our party comprises of people from all different factions. We have a representation from all different stratas and communities within the state. We are a formidable force in Haryana. So that is the reason why the Congress went alone in Haryana. Yes, let me again reiterate, the BJP what the BJP did was they brought in a lot of parties, a lot of independent candidates. They propped them up with resources to divide the anti-incumbency vote. That perhaps could be a factor. But like I again said, and your own reportage right now indicates that Ms. Fogart is again leading. The margins are very close. The margins are very narrow in Haryana. Anything said before 1 p.m. may be premature. Coming to Jammu and Kashmir, the NC and the Congress party have been allies in the past also. This was an understanding. Sorry, you were saying something.
Precisely why, no, I'm saying yes, the margins are very small, which is why at the end of the day, if ultimately, say a candidate of the Congress party loses by 50 votes and 500 votes go to the JJP or 500 votes go to the Aam Aadmi party, then the question is that had those 500 votes of the Aam Aadmi party come to the Congress would have won. We have seen that picture. Madhavan wants to counter that. Please go ahead.
Yeah, in fact, you sort of said, Tangshu, what I was trying to say, which is that Adil Bapar...
just one second, Adil. Madhavan wants to make a point.
I want to gently remind Adil Baparai, I completely agree. There is nobody is going to disagree with Adil that Congress is the formidable party in Haryana. In fact, that's so obvious that it doesn't need stating. What are the nuances in the game? Let's look at the nuances. The first nuances is that we are still in a parliamentary system where every seat ultimately is decided by the margin. And if there is a party like JJP or Aam Aadmi party which has nuisance value, that's a lovely expression we have in the English language. The nuisance value is enough to take the government away from you if push comes to shove. So to that extent, Congress is on a relatively weaker ground, and it is not the same thing that it used to be, because the vacuum created by the death of Chaudhry Devilal and the decline of the INLD has been filled substantially by the BJP. And I have to say more on that, because the way the Jats as a community have been discussed needs to be more nuanced, Ritangshu. Because there was a general impression, and myself included, let me eat my words a little bit. Huda's leadership has been so good. He's called Chaudhry Bhupender Huda now, which was never said before, which is that I thought he was a sort of a new Devilal, which means the Jat mantle is falling upon him. But the breakup of this election shows that although he is working hard and is a very good leader, he has not succeeded in unambiguously taking on the mantle of the Jats. Let me explain a bit more. The Jannayak Janata Party is a breakaway from INLD. Yes. INLD is an inheritor of the old Lokdal.
Yeah.
But what it means is that the Jats that used to vote sort of en masse or like a vote bank are now a confused or a divided lot. Let me point to the BJP, which now has, it's the news of the day as far as I'm concerned at 11:45 is that Vinesh Phogat is trailing, whereas Kiran Chaudhary is leading. Kiran Chaudhary is the granddaughter of Chaudhry Bansilal, who was a sort of a respected Congress leader and a Jat leader. And then he formed the Haryana Vikas Party, which means that, right now there is Surjewala versus Huda sort of rivalry within the Congress. Then there is the Chautala family decline, but sort of in a confused way. Then there are defectors from Congress's old stalwarts like Bansilal family. Kiran Chaudhary and her daughter Shruti are now in the BJP. What does this mean? That Haryana politics has become so fluid, and Jat politics, which is a sort of a preeminence, has become so fluid that the BJP's consolidation of the non-Jat castes seems to be working more than the Congress's attempts to consolidate the Jats under this thing, in spite of this fantastic slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Pehlwan. The Pehlwan is on the mat. I would love to look at, let me end with a punchline. I would love to look at the horoscope of Vinesh Phogat this year, because whether it's Paris Olympics or here, she seems to be on the mat till the last moment.
It's more of a horoscope than a horoscope. But yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that pun. But let's not be premature in our judgments at this point at all. We've got, Adil, we've got a statement coming in from a very senior leader of the Congress party. Jairam Ramesh has tweeted that, and I'm quoting him here, just like the Lok Sabha elections in Haryana, we're again witnessing down the slowing down of uploading of up-to-date trends on the Election Commission website. Is the BJP trying to build pressure on the administration by sharing outdated and misleading trends? Is it necessary, Adil, at this point here? I mean, we have had a so far at least smooth election process at a time when Jammu and Kashmir, if nothing else, has decisively given a mandate. Is it necessary to start questioning or casting aspersions on the speed and the fairness of the EC every time things don't go exactly along the Congress's way?
No, but this is a matter of fact. Mr. Ramesh has only stated a fact that the EC data on Haryana has become exceptionally slow. I have the EC data on my phone and I've been checking it every 2 minutes. Yes, it does indeed seem to be slow. The data hasn't been uploaded or refreshed for the past 25 minutes. So this is a genuine concern. We are merely stating facts.
There could be 1,000 logistical reasons also for it, Adil.
We're not putting out strictures against any organization. No, in the morning, interestingly, in the first 2 hours, it was very smooth. And now all of a sudden, for the past 1 hour, it's become exceptionally slow.
No, I think
we're only flagging an issue.
I think it's the other way around, Adil. Adil, it's the other way around. I have been personally monitoring the EC website from 8 in the morning. In fact, for the first half an hour, the EC website couldn't even show any leads or trails. Then Jammu and Kashmir was first off the bat. Haryana followed only 15 minutes later. So it's only at around 8:45 that the EC website actually started showing the pictures of Haryana. And at that point also for the next 1 hour, the Congress was clearly in the lead. So for whatever it's worth, Haryana results on the Election Commission website have been slower compared to Jammu
for the past 20-25 minutes,
and
it hasn't been updated.
Reasons for it. Is it necessary to automatically ascribe it to something which is sinister or foul play being involved?
Ritanshu, justice should not only be done but be seen to be done. Fairness should not only be there but also seen to be there. And going by how the BJP manages institution, again, I'm not castigating anything. It is just that in the interest of fairness, there has to be a certain degree of expedition when uploading of data is concerned. That's all what Mr. Jairam Ramesh has said. We're merely stating facts. That's all. It's for everybody to see. It's for your research to see that the uploading of data, whether it is for X reason or Y reason, has indeed been slow.
Well, Ritanshu, if I look at the way Vinesh Phogat is trailing, Congress has every reason to worry about, because, it's like cricket where you keep fielders close to the batsman, 3 slips and a gully and a backward short leg and a forward short leg. That's what Congress is doing. They want to keep the pressure on because if you see the way governors have been used, the BJP doesn't leave anything to chance or to the gentleness of parliamentary procedures. So why should Congress lag behind in this game? So they use EVMs and EC as a pressure point.
I mean, all I'm saying is at a time when the world's eyes are on us in terms of how successfully we conduct elections in Jammu and Kashmir, if questions are then raised on the other parallel election being conducted, that automatically reflects. I mean, then the BJP has every right to say that, yeah, some foul play was going on in Jammu and Kashmir also. Anyway, I mean...
No, I think, let's be very clear on this, Ritanshu. Some issues are very part of the bitter race to the bottom politics, which both parties need to avoid.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are issues related to some of the constituency level logistics that cannot be wished away. So I think that at least it's part of the, thanks to the fact that there are TV channels, it's also part of the game of optics. It's happening in the US as well.
Yeah.
Everybody, the Trumpists are still not even shutting their mouths on what happened in the last election.
And that's not necessarily a trend which we should follow. We have always had a very healthy history of accepting.
I think this is where the Election Commission, the media and the judiciary as an institution have to uphold. Politicians will be politicians.
Fair enough. Anuja Kapoor, BJP spokesperson, is joining us at this point. Anuja ji, firstly, I want to understand your takeaway here, because so far the BJP has been uncharacteristically quiet and not tempted to celebrate on Haryana yet. Is it also because you are anticipating another twist in the tail like we have seen in the morning? And secondly, the Congress allegation that is coming up that via data on the EC website being slowed down, is there something more than what meets the eye?
So, Ritesh, I would just say that
question is to you.
we don't have to celebrate on to... Yes. So, I think I'm audible to you? Hi.
Yes,
am I audible
Ritangshu here.
to you?
Anuja Kapoor, you're audible. Please go on.
Yes. Yes. Ritanshu, I would just say that why we don't have to celebrate on the thing which we are already in the winning point. We never lost in Haryana. So what is the need of celebrating? We are already there since morning. We are telling you from the 9 o'clock debate when Rujhan was only coming. We were telling you that we are the winners. So there is nothing that we have to speak on it or we have to do some celebration. Celebration is going to be done for the Congress. The Congress believes in this. We are already celebrated. We are a party of Modi and the cadre system who works from Panna Pramukh and who are the people of Booth. We know what we have done work in Haryana for so many years. And we are not only working on the state assembly, the Lok Sabha has also shown. So the belief system in Modi's model has shown in the love by the voters in Haryana. Who says that we have an anti-incumbency? Look at Nayab Singh Saini ji, 3,000 votes he is and above. And they are talking about, look at Khattarji's constituency. There you see a lot of voters. So what we are looking is into the anti-incumbency is in Congress. The Congress cannot take their loss. They believe that Jammu Kashmir, where they think they are winning, now they are saying that the ECI, the Election Commission, has a problem in updating. So when they are updating for Jammu Kashmir, they are not updating for Haryana. I don't understand that. Does the TV channels also come in Election Commission? They all are updating, they all are showing. So what is the reality is that the Kharcha Parchi in Haryana has been less. It's been eradicated. So that is the problem. And in Article 370 in Kashmir, where we talk about Kashmir.
Anuja ji, firstly, I mean, I get your point and we don't have to be so agitated about it. This is a time for the BJP to celebrate. But you mentioned that there is anti-incumbency against the Congress. I don't understand how there can be anti-incumbency against a party which is not in power. The Congress has not been in power in Haryana for 10 years. Second point is the vote share of the party. Even on the ECA website shows the Congress is the single largest party in terms of votes. So if at all the BJP has got the lion's share of seats, it is because vote Katwe parties have come into the fray. So it's not been a very clear-cut dominant win for Haryana as your opening statement, for BJP in Haryana as your opening statement is indicating.
What do you see in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh? Why did BJP won Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh?
Anuja ji, I'm talking of Haryana, you're talking about Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh.
Were in the states where they have lost. They have lost. And in Haryana, sir, for Haryana, we are again a comeback. The anti-incumbency of Haryana, they are talking about where we are always in a pro-incumbency. We have seen in Madhya Pradesh. We never went into anti-incumbency because Modi ji's model is working on the ground. The people of India, the Bharat, are being the kingmakers in the world also. So that is what the problem is with Congress. They cannot see that. They brought Vinesh Phogat against us. Why? Because they wanted to use and throw her. You see how the other Olympic, the athlete was being gropped on the Congress rally stage. See how they treat the women, how anti-Dalit has been talked about. They talk about India Alliance. Where were the India Alliance when the Bharat Jodo Yatra started? They see their Karnataka, see their Telangana, see their Himachal Pradesh. Do an election right now, I would say that. You will know what an anti-incumbency will come up in India future. So what we see is the debt crisis. What Congress is, they make ATMs. They sit in the tijoris. They sit in the tijoris of the people. They do not sit in the heart. Modi ji is in the heart of the people. You have seen how in Kashmir also. If we are not there in Kashmir, it's not an issue. Because we are the party of opposition when Congress was there for 70 years. We are a party of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We have left the party in one vote.
So are you saying, are you conceding defeat in Jammu and Kashmir?
The vote stuff. We are the people who believe
Anuja ji,
on
one second. Anuja ji, this is not an election Maidan. You don't have to be so agitated. We are asking you Anuja ji, I'm asking you a normal question. 1 second. Anuja ji, I am Ritangshu Bhattacharya. I am Associate Editor Mirror now. I am not your opponent in the Congress that you are shouting at me.
Which is not relevant in Haryana anymore.
So I am asking a question calmly. You can answer also calmly. Anuja ji, election khatam ho gaye.
I am telling you, sir, because Haryana, when we are talking about why we feel bad, because they create a picture that ECI is the one who is not updating. So is this a ECI EVM? Is this a thing to be discussed? Then they talk about caste system. Sir, we are agitated because they are making fool of a common man. Where Modi ji is talking about and giving toilet free, they are putting taxes.
Ma'am, give a bit more credit to the common man. The common man has never bought into this entire thing of ECI top. All I'm saying is, Anuja ji, all I'm saying is, before you joined us live, your same points were the ones I'd raised to the Congress party also. That does this not delegitimize the Jammu and Kashmir election here? So it's fine. I get your point completely. The point is, I'm going to ask you a simple question before I also play out some reactions coming in. Are you prepared to concede defeat in Jammu and Kashmir and sit in the opposition? Or will you play backdoor politics from Delhi also, via Delhi through the LG? That's the opposition point of view.
Sir, what is defeat for Modi ji? Tell me. I again said that is why you didn't hear me at that time. We are Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. For us, there is no defeat or ruling. We are the people who work. When we are in the ruling party, we are working for them. For Kashmir, we will be a stronger opposition. We are the people who believe in working. Either we sit in ruling or we sit in opposition. We are the cadre-based party. We do not believe in this vote system of the way the Congress talks about. We have to work, sir. Either I work in ruling party or in opposition.
Anuja ji, thank you so much for joining us.
I am a person who will work.
Okay, Anuja ji, thank you so much for joining us. We accept your point at this point. The BJP is right now in the pole position, but we've got reactions coming in.